Welcome to Inner City Enduro, round number 1 for the 2022 season. Two-day Extreme Enduro Cross Series hosted on the streets of Nelson Mandela Bay and brought to you by Red Cherry Events. This is ICE, and once again in 2022, it would bring the spectacle to the streets.
But I've always been on the premise of just bringing the best out in people, and you only do that when they encounter hardships and massive obstacles in their way. Just as far as mental obstacles, I mean, a lot of these obstacles out there are just mental obstacles, they're not physical obstacles. You think, I've never done that before, and suddenly you do it, it becomes easier. So you notice even in practice, once the guys are going through and they get into their third time, they're just doing it with ease. So practice does make perfect.
Yeah, so with Extreme Enduro, the whole idea of it is to make everything on that borderline of being rideable, and you push yourself, your body, your bike, everything's being pushed to the absolute max of what it can do, and you're at a constant, almost at a max of your heart rate. So I think it's the pinnacle of endurance motorsport, just because it's so physical. You're constantly lifting 100, 110 kg motorbike, and then yourself, and you have to, your mind has to be right, and yeah, I think it's an unbelievable sport.
Enduro means a lot to me. It's been part of my life for the last 10 years, and I really enjoy it and really like it, racing around the world, knowing people, new experience every time, and like now in ice. Yeah, it's been great. It's a mental part, endurance part, mix of everything. Keep the bike in one piece is the most important thing probably, and yeah.
Our sport is very much a mental game as well as a physical game. You know, we're training hard and we're trying to get as fit as we can to make it as easy for us as possible. In the end, there's only so much you can control and there's only so much you can prepare for, so you got to be ready for everything. Your mental side comes into quite a bit later on in the race especially, and yeah, certain points where you make that decision, like, well, here we are, we're in this hard place, and you just got to keep going and just keep pushing through, you know, like past what you thought you can do, and it's amazing what your body is actually capable of.
With the talking over, it's time to go racing here at round number 1. Some extreme rain came down as the riders lined up to start out on the racing formats. Support class would be first up, taking on the track, laid out exactly the same as the pros. Spectators also started to come through the gates as the weather picked up pace, matching the riding. In past years of running this incredible event down in Port Elizabeth, we've been blessed with dry weather. It seemed like the curse had come in hard though for 2022, and every obstacle suffered with that sprinkling of rain, removing any grip that was potentially there.
Yeah, so certainly, I mean, we've always brought this as a 2-day event. One is just being to really, not to qualify so much, just to expose you to the obstacles, and so you don't arrive here on race day totally cold. And then obviously what's going to happen on race day is that's what makes it so exciting, is a last man standing format. So generally what will happen in the normal race, people will take off and they'll have a massive gap of 500 meters a kilometer. You won't see them again. Now what happens is you race for 800 meters. The race finishes entirely. You then draw a new slot, irrespective of whether you came first. You could draw position number 15 and be last on the grid again, and you have to start racing again. And what's really important is for you to retain a lifeline. So if you're in the top 3 and you make a mistake in the race after that, and you come last, you get a lifeline. The second last guy will be out. So it's always important to put the pressure on and keep momentum going. But the biggest part for us is that start. It's that massive 2 or 3 obstacles where 10, 15 guys are bashing bars, and that's what really makes a difference about this event.
By this stage, the support riders were down to the magical top 10, so it was time to address the issue that is the pro class and show what cream was about to rise to the top. Former champion Blake Goodsight was in the pro lineup. There was no show for the multiple champion Wade Young, but we had Carl Flanagan and Matty Green trying to chase down their first ever title.
Yeah, it's quite a good, interesting and fun format. You don't have to be on it every race, but you can't be last. So, you don't want to get knocked out early on, but you also don't want to push too hard and tire yourself out and use all your intensiveness out there. So, yeah, it's good fun. And I really think the format keeps it fresh. Anyone can get knocked out at any time. So, yeah, I love it. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Thanks for that, Matty. And now it's time to jump back into the support class elimination, down to 5 riders. 102 junior riders had now made the big move up into support class and were well inside the top 5 throughout all the elimination rounds. The standout riders, Titus Iverson and Sage McGregor. A recent addition to the inner City Enduro is the hill climb. Its debut back in 2020 to huge success. It's quite simple. Make it to the highest point on the hill in the fastest time possible and walk away with the prize money. The support riders went up first, and it was Sage McGregor who came out on top, showing his class. Next up was the pro class. Torrential conditions certainly favouring the guys with international experience. Once done with the hill climb, it was some intense action as we saw the final of the support class of Titus Iverson versus Sage McGregor. Titus eventually taking the top spot with a small mistake costing Sage McGregor his title. He'll have to line up later in the year at round number 2 to see if he can best ice once again. It was great to see Titus Iverson come of age though, a former ICE junior champion back in 2020. And he has now delivered the goods. There's one step further for him, and that's potentially in next season's 2023 ICE Championship to go up into the pro class. With support class done and dusted, it was time for the best of the top 3 pros to go at it. Matty Green, Alfredo Gomez, and Carl Flanagan smashing it out to see who would go into the final. After a manic semi-final, it was Carl and Alfredo advancing to the final, with Matty Green having to settle for 3rd but taking another ICE podium. So it would be a 2-horse race and 2 potential brand new champions. Remember, Carl Flanagan has taken a ton of podiums at ICE. Alfredo Gomez, his first bite of the cherry out here at ICE to see if he can win his first ever event. The early advantage went to Carl Flanagan, and he looked like he had this one wrapped up tight in a bow. But by the halfway lap, Alfredo Gomez was in recovery mode And after a small mistake for Flanagan, it was Alfredo Gomez making the pass and destroying the dreams of Flanagan once again. Gomez extended his lead, took the flag, and is our first international ice champion in 2022, flanked by Flanagan and Greeny. Round 2 is set for Johannesburg towards the end of November, so stay tuned to City Enduro's social media pages for more information as we build up to an end-of-season spectacular.